hopefully it'll focus in just a second. There we go. Okay, we're now live. Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hello. And you all work with the School of Management?
Yes.
Great. So thank you for taking a couple minutes. I'm going to go around and talk here. Your presentation was about using virtual reality and turning VR, combining with exercise.
Yep, we have an exercise One Health project out of the School of Management. We also are working with some great economics folks on a USDA grant to look at consumer choice study for Alaska raised reindeer. We're creating a virtual reality co-op for that study and as a one component to the physical part. And then next year we're going to start looking at eye tracking in sport events that are broadcast in virtual reality. So we got a lot of different stuff going on right now.
And that was interesting because if you put on your VR thing to watch a football game, baseball game, wrestling, you're going to see where people can look and put ads in those places?
Yeah, so you'll notice in a hockey game there's some digital overlay up in the glass and some different ads that are being placed that aren't there in reality, and people are doing that in virtual reality streaming as well. We'll be able to go in, take a clip or a period or a quarter of a game, code all the different advertising spaces. People are free to look around wherever they want. They're not restricted to the TV. So we'll be able to make heat maps of that 3D environment and see what spaces are most effective.
So looking forward, I can see the game, but if I turn around, I can go shopping for my kitchen.
Yeah. Pretty much, yep. Yep. In the CBS's March Madness app, there's a Buffalo Wild Wings ordering experience. So for Anchorage, not for us up here in Fairbanks.
So watching the game, my friends and I got our VR goggles on. The game's going, oh my God, I need pizza. Look over there.
You see the
grab the pizza
logo,
ordering thing. Then pizza shows up flying on an unmanned aerial vehicle outside from Kathy Cahill.
If we were in San Francisco, it would be there on a drone in probably 30 minutes to an hour. So.
It is amazing you're doing that work here on the Fairbanks campus.
Thank you.
Let's turn around to you guys. Okay, so you guys talked about stuff. Whoa. Talk about sort of breaking some stigmas and talking about things that people don't usually talk about. If you could step over there, there's a shadow. I don't want you to look at it later and be like, oh my God, he looks so terrible.
Yeah.
So you research the cannabis industry and sort of recreational cannabis being legal in Alaska means you have a research opportunity other management schools don't.
Right.
And so the thing that stuck out for me from the stuff that you were talking about is lots of money to be made, but a risky business to get involved in.
Yeah, exactly right. Both civil and criminal penalties that could be pretty substantial, and many people don't realize that there's a statute of limitations of 5 years. So, once you engage in supporting that industry or become involved in it, you could be prosecuted 5 years later if the political winds happen to change.
So if they suddenly decriminalize in the state again, you could go to jail.
Yeah, well,
when
it's federal. If we just had a change in the Attorney General in Washington D.C., we could see enforcement pick up.
That happened today.
Yep. Exactly.
But I mean,
for the right directions.
It just it's not something you hear a lot of research about.
Right.
Why did you want to start thinking about that and looking into that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of these startup businesses contacted me about trying to find help because they're cash-based business, and accountants are usually involved in helping businesses manage cash, and since they're unbanked, it presents real challenges and risks.
So collaboration between the community and the university in this cutting-edge field of business.
Yeah.
You sent students out to go shopping.
Yes.
I'm a recreational cannabis user myself, so it's really interesting to hear talk about studying in the borough and what it means for the borough. Is it good for the Fairbanks North Star borough to have this business here?
From our results, it would suggest, you're getting actually increasing levels of payroll, so higher levels of employment, and you're also seeing new investment in new business. So that entrepreneurial activity actually generates positive social capital, I would argue. Two other dimensions kind of bear warrant here. We're also looking at local production, and so there is the potential to keep expanding that here in the Fairbanks area. So it becomes a homegrown industry that can actually support homegrown jobs.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Year-round, and it's a year-round. Most of these are cultivated indoors.
Indoor cultivation. Yeah.
One of the things you talked about is the data you used in your presentation already out of date.
Sure, yeah, and so given the growth in the industry, it's actually going to go very quickly you would anticipate with the new market that you would see these type of growth numbers. So early on, we anticipated not being able to keep up with this initial study, so it actually speaks to the need to develop a research infrastructure that we can use in the future to keep studying the industry as it grows.
Could you be doing this research other places?
Colorado, California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada.
So not many.
Yeah, not many, mostly out west, but it's mostly unique in Alaska because we're distinct from the contiguous United States, obviously, and we're also kind of looking that entrepreneurial spirit in a place that needs it.
And so one of the things you talked about is there's the people that grow the cannabis, that produce the cannabis for the stores, the people that work in the stores. Like, it's not just making money from buying your weed.
Yeah, that's right. So you have to look at it from traditionally probably an agricultural viewpoint at the cultivation level, and then from the retail standpoint, it's a traditional retail store. Tax advantages don't extend to retail businesses. They're not able to write off their floor space, for example, and so there's certain roadblocks to the industry here in the borough. But the other components that are there is that, like any other economic sector, you would anticipate spending entering into the local economy and circulating around. So people that take their paychecks or their cash payments in this case and actually spend them locally actually induce jobs in other businesses here in the borough.
So if you get paid in cash, you can go put that in your own credit union, your bank. You don't have to say, I work at cannabis business X.
There's actually a number of prohibitions on banking that, and as Charlie mentioned, that it's unbanked. So we don't really know what people are doing with their money or how they're actually storing it. So we can address
so
that.
that's a
Gray area.
That's a gray area.
That's a gray area.
What about tourism?
With respect to tourism, it'll be interesting given that this summer is probably one of the first we'll start tracking that data. So if we conduct this study again this spring, we'll probably want to start isolating tourist seasons and see if there's actually an effect we can identify. So people coming here to buy cannabis would seem to make sense.
Yeah, and I can actually add to that. I had some family. I'm from the East Coast in Connecticut. I had family who would never think to come visit me in Alaska on the in-law side, grandmother, aunt, great-grandmother come up just to experience that from a tourism impact. So people are coming for that.
Is it something to overcome to say this is serious research that I'm doing? This is a serious study. It's not just smoking pot and talking about how everyone's getting rich.
Well, yeah, we obviously didn't do the latter in that instance, but the students wanted to actually have a locally focused project and that actually had some merit, could be used by individuals here locally, and so that's the real value. So it is serious research, and it's important to know this information because if something does happen from a policy standpoint, we need to understand what those ramifications are going to be.
And on Election Day, another state just decriminalized it for recreational use. 3 states, do you say?
Two recreational and 1 for medical.
Yeah.
So the research that you're doing will go to those communities and help them.
Potentially, and there's actually research like this being conducted in those other states because everybody wants to see what the birth of a new market looks like. And so from that standpoint, we have that access here.
That's got to be really exciting for all of you, that birth of a new market thing. Like virtual reality, it's just starting to come around. Legalized cannabis just starting to start out. What's it like to be a researcher on the cutting edge? You first.
Okay. Well, it presents challenges, but it's really exciting work to be, kind of the first one in. And it's hard to sell your work though sometimes because it's a politically sensitive area.
It's fun, and it's actually important because it gives the students a hands-on opportunity to learn, and that's where the real value's at.
It's a challenge and fun because a lot of our federal funding agencies want to see almost a duplication of pilot data, and we're in an emerging space, so that doesn't exist, so we have to create our own. But I'm learning right there with the students. We're all learning and fixing the issues together, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And thanks for participating in that crazy thing. That was a lot of fun to watch. Was it fun to do?
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Charlie.